Move to accused number 5. You went to where he was kept, and you said he refused to be checked. That's what you said.
That's correct, my lord.
Number 4, you went to Loko prison. Then you proceeded with the same exercise to accused number 4.
That is correct, my lord.
No scars, nothing, no traces of any injuries.
I couldn't see anything also.
All right. I just want to understand. But I'll get to it as I'm getting with your evidence. Because you said it's part of your job description to go with the investigating officer to perform such exercises that you've done. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. With a ballistic expert going with the investigating officer to make such a follow-up information on the heights of the accused. And
my lord, for us to go out to a crime scene, do reconstruction, we receive requests from the investigating officer, and I cannot do the examination without the presence of the investigating officer. He must be there when I conduct it. If he call me and ask me to assist with something, I would go and check. If it's possible for me to assist, I will assist. And if it's not possible, I'll also tell him that it's not possible to get that.
Right, no, it's fine. Let's now get into the date Brigadier Kininda called you, or if he called you or you talk with him regarding the suspect who was sentenced for a firearm. Can you relate on that?
The suspect was...
Sorry, let me just rephrase it. What actually led you to go to... What is it? Cleveland. What led you to go to Cleveland?
Cleveland?
Yes.
My lord, after we went to accused number 3 at Johannesburg prison, Brigadier Kininda informed me that he had information that accused number 3 is the main suspect in this case, and he wanted me to check if the firearm that he was arrested with in Cleveland, can we check the firearm and compare it with the bullets?
Did you go to Cleveland alone, or you were in company of Brigadier Kininda?
When I went to Cleveland, I went alone.
So you had the description of the firearm that you were looking for?
My lord, what transpired here is, after telling me that he was giving me the case number of Cleveland, I went to our system and checked with the Cleveland. I could see the lab number on the case number. And I got the case file of that Cleveland case. And after getting the case file of Cleveland, I compared the bullets which were fired in that firearm on the Cleveland case by a warrant officer rule officer. Okay. And when I compared the bullet from the crime scene, the first Laura's crime scene, with the test on the Cleveland case, I could see some similarities, but because of the type of bullets which were in the Cleveland case, the bullets in the Cleveland case were the full metal jacket. And the bullet on the first Laura's case was the CMJ, the complete metal jacket. And the two are the same caliber, but two different materials of the bullet. Then I started to compare them, but I could see some class characteristics and some similarities that's when I decided that I need a firearm so that I can shoot the correct test in this firearm.
So what you're telling the court just now, is it in your affidavit?
It's in my affidavit.
Yes, is it in your 212 statement?
My lord, I don't put everything in my 212 statement.
Is it in your diary?
What I'm saying now. I did the test. I've mentioned it in my report before I could go and get the firearm. I have mentioned that. Compare the tests in the Cleveland case with this. I could see some similarities, but I needed to shoot additional tests with the correct ammunition.
All right. Before you left your office to Cleveland, was it the correct procedure for you to follow if that firearm was not brought into you by the case administration?
Well, that's the correct procedure also. When firearms are collected from the crime scene, or maybe from the suspect or something, they are sealed by the investigating officer, they are sent, or by LCRC, they are sent to the lab to be registered. But in this instance, it's a different instance. This firearm was not with the owner or was not collected from the crime scene. It was at the lab. And after the case was finalized on the Cleveland case, it was sent back to the station. Now, if I want to shoot the test, additional test in this firearm, what I could do is, I've checked the type of firearm, check what type of firearm is it, where the firearm is, and I went to the station to check if the firearm is in there. The procedure that we have on collecting the firearm, sealing the firearm, is when it's sent by the IO or by LCRC. In this instance, booking out the firearm at the SAP dating, what procedure do we follow? It's the normal procedure that every police officer can follow. If this firearm was with the owner or was with the company, I wouldn't go and collect it from the owner or the company. I would request the investigating officer to go collect it and then send it to us. But because it's at the station, the procedure there at the police station is a police officer can go book it out at the SAP dating to conduct the test. That's what the procedure that I did.
Did you have any indemnity form or any form authorizing you to possess that firearm?
Any form to possess the firearm, meaning what?
Let me just put it straight so that you'll understand. when you left your office, driving to Cleveland to fetch the firearm, what document that authorized you to go and fetch the firearm?
My lord, I had the case number, and I was busy working on the case. LCLC members don't have the indemnity when they collect exhibits from the crime scene to send them to the lab. The detective who collects the firearm from the owner or from wherever doesn't have that indemnity form that he's going to collect the firearm and bring it to the lab. That's the procedure that I follow.
But you're not the investigating officer.
But I'm a police officer.
Sir, let me just put it straight. You are driving from Cleveland in possession of the firearm. You are stopped at the roadblock. How would you explain that?
I'm a police officer and I'm working on the case.
Are you aware of the indemnity form?
I don't know of any indemnity form.
Any letter written by the station commander or the commander giving you authority to possess that firearm? Are you not aware of that authority?
To possess which firearm? Exhibit firearm?
That exhibit, yes. Because you're not an investigating officer.
But I'm a police officer and I'm working on the case. Not only the investigating officer can carry the firearm that is in this case. We have cases where the investigating officer will send anybody, any police officer from his office to bring the exhibits to the lab where we examine those firearms. Do they have the indemnity that they are in possession of the firearm that belongs to a case that they are not working on?
According to you, there's nothing that prevented you from telling Brigadier Gininda to bring that firearm for testing at case administrators, and there's nothing that actually influenced you to go and take that firearm without the knowledge of, sorry, let me just put it this way, there's nothing that prevented you from informing Brigadier Gininda that you, on that particular day, you are going to fetch that firearm. There's nothing prevented you.
My lord, I informed him before I go there. He knew that I was going to fetch the firearm there.
So now let's get into we'll leave that for argument, because I can put it to you now that you were not authorized to possess the firearm. If you were stopped at the roadblock, you were going to be arrested for being in possession of the unlicensed firearm.
My lord, I don't believe in that.
No. That's true what you're saying, because you police now these days are doing as you please. You just carry firearms anyhow. Like now.
That's a good question. I think that's an unfair, sweeping statement to make.
Let me just justify what I was saying to you. For the first day, when the court asked our ballistic expert, you were standing with Brigadier Gininda there, next to each other.
That's correct, my lord.
And Dave was standing next to you.
That's correct, my lord.
The court asked, where is that firearm? Do you remember what Gininda said, Brigadier Gininda said? Can you recall?
I can't recall that.
He said that firearm is not there. He didn't bring the firearm. And then you grabbed him and said, no, there is a firearm.
My lord, I think if I can recall, I can't recall exactly the words of Brigadier. But it was because where the firearm is. I said, no, I have the firearm with me.
No. Before you answered, say, Brigadier Gininda is the one who gave an answer first.
Yes, but I told him that I have the firearm.
Then you pay his attention and say, no, we've got the firearm. The investigating officer is not aware that in possession of a firearm. The court is asking the investigating officer. So by law, are you telling me or are you telling this court that you have the authority to keep the exhibits of the court?
My lord, there is a statement that Brigadier Gininda submitted that for safety reasons, I must keep the firearm with me because I've got a safe at the office. You can't leave it at the station. Anything can happen.
So that firearm was not found from the safe where you collected it from Cleveland? Was it not in a safe?
At Cleveland?
Yes.
It was in a safe?
Yes. What prevented you from taking it back to Cleveland?
My lord, I took it back to Cleveland and Brigadier Gininda booked it out at Cleveland. He said he's afraid, feel that it's not safe there, then I must keep it. He even submitted a statement and I wrote that I must keep the firearm. Ever since he booked it out at Cleveland, the firearm was with me. It was in my exhibit safe. And on that day that we were here with Dave, I brought the firearm. He was not aware that I brought the firearm to court.
Let's get now to the full metal jacket and the complete metal jacket. When Rudolph was conducting you said he conducted the test on a full metal
jacket, yes.
So what does that mean? If you conducted the test on a CMJ, if you conducted the test on a FMJ, you conducted the test on the CMJ. What did that mean, or what does that mean?
My lord, when we do examination at the lab, when you examine the bullet, maybe compare the bullets from the crime scene with the firearm, or you compare the cartridge cases with the firearm. What we do is we receive the firearm, we examine the firearm. When we shoot the test to be compared with the exhibits from the crime scene, we look at the type of exhibits that we have received. If your cartridge cases, let's say for argument's sake, is PMP, I'll shoot the PMP cartridge cases for comparison. If our cartridge cases from the scene are something like cellular and belloc, we'll also shoot the same type of cartridge, because the material of these cartridge cases are not the same, and some of them are hard. So when we shoot a test, you might struggle to find exactly the same type of marks on it. So when using the same type of exhibit, we're expecting to find more or less or very close or similar, exactly similar type of marks on it. In case of bullets, we do the same thing. If I receive the hollow point, I'll try and shoot the hollow point. If I don't have the same type of hole, I'll shoot something that will be very close to that. In instances where I receive the CMJ bullets, I'll also shoot the CMJ bullets. Now, in the case of, sorry.
For my client to understand it as well, the exhibit that were brought to you, were they the CMJs or the FMJs?
My lord, the exhibit bullet from the crime scene were the CMJ, not the
Correct.
FMJ.
Do you know why Colonel Rudolph used the FMJ in the examination?
Warrant Officer Rudolph, when he was examining that, he was doing his case, the Cleveland case. And in the Cleveland case, I don't know if there's any CMJs, because the test that he shot, I'm not sure if it's a PMP. I think it was PMP with the FMJ, not the CMJs.
But you were examining the exhibits which are likely to be those that were examined by Rudolph.
Rudolph did the comparison of exhibit cartridge cases from the other crime, the Cleveland, Alexandra case.
Yes.
And what happened in this Cleveland case, it was a possession of unlicensed firearm. In cases of where we receive firearms like possession of unlicensed firearm, normally we shoot the PMP ammunition, and you can acquire that on the IB system. But if you look at the case that I was doing, the post Laura's case, it's the one bullet of CMJ. So it's two tests of FMJ on Cleveland case, and in this case, it's one bullet of CMJ.
We were still on the examination by Rudolph. Okay. You conducted the examination on this with the CMJ, using the CMJs, and the exhibit with the CMJs. So, okay, what was your finding in terms of your microscopic analysis?